Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. Thank you for taking the time today to join us. I'm Tracy Johnson, along with Ben Reed and Andrew Johnson from Radio Content Pro. We're excited to share some terrific tools for Hispanic radio. We've got two brand new things that we want to take you through. We want to explain it and give you a chance to be some of the first to experience it. And I think you're going to be impressed with it. I think you're going to see a lot of uses for what you do with your radio stations on the air, online, and in social media. A lot of people have signed up for the seminar today, and they are just starting to come in. So we're going to give it another 30 seconds or so before we get started. But in the meantime, I'll tell you what to expect today. I'm going to give you a little bit of background about Radio Content Pro and what it is, how we developed it. I will show you some of the benefits that the platform has for your stations. Then I'm going to give it over to Ben, who is a talk show host, a consultant, and a program director in Spanish radio. And we were very fortunate to find him. And Ben's going to take you through on a tour of RCP, Radio Content Pro El Grito, for regional Mexican stations, primarily in rural markets, and also Tumbao, which is more designed for urban and reggaeton stations. So we will take you on all of that. We will also answer your questions. We'll stay on as long as you have questions following Ben's presentation. We expect that to go about 25 to 30 minutes in total. And then we'll stay on and answer those questions as long as you have them. And at the end, I'll give you a special offer where you can save 50% on Radio Content Pro, either of those two formats, if you're one of the first 10 to respond. And you're going to have a chance to download the presentation that we have for today. Now, if you haven't been able to stay on for the entire presentation, or it gets too late, or something comes up, or you'd like to watch it again or share it with someone else, don't worry about it. You can do that by tomorrow morning when you wake up and come into your radio station. You'll have a link in your email box for a replay, and you can share that with anybody you like, anybody in your company that you want to share it with, and get some more eyes and ears on the things that it's available to do. So with all of that, I'd like to get started here and show you some things about Radio Content Pro. Andrew and I started this company a little over a year ago. I had worked for on another project to develop content for some AI development that they were doing. And that never came together, but we had the content figured out. So Andrew is has a digital marketing company. And he figured out how to train AI bots to go all over the internet, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, looking for relevant content and curate it in such a way that it is useful for radio stations. And it's amazing. We have 10 different brands, all targeted to different audiences, each of them market exclusive for the local market. That's what Radio Content Pro is all about. Now, recently, just over the last week or so, we introduced El Grito and Tumbao. El Grito is, again, constantly updated content, ready to be used on the air, online, social, and on social media, and is curated from trusted, verified sources. And both El Grito and Tumbao are presented in Spanish. This is Tumbao. Again, Tumbao is for urban and reggaeton stations, and Ben will be showing you all of the details around that. Our bots go out 24/7, 365. We convert it to ready-to-use ideas. We like to say that if you're a station that is under budget pressure, like all stations are under budget pressure right now, nobody has the budget to hire as many people as they would like. We can replace a lot of that by using AI effectively. And I want to show you today how if you have a producer of your morning show who's having trouble keeping up with everything, finding sources, curating that content, preparing it for the talent, or if you've lost your producer, or if you've never had a producer but would like to have one. This is like having a producer that's working for you full time, constantly gathering up to the minute content and organizing it for you, putting it right at your fingertips. The story is one of the sections that shows up on every piece of content. The basics of this very quickly. The story appears at the top. The story is bullet points and a news style summary. Now, the news style summary is written in a style that is meant to be spoken and not read. It's conversational. It's perfect for news reports, for entertainment updates. And it's kind of like having a full-time copywriter who's working just for you, just for your station, who's taking a look at this content and is preparing it and putting it in front of you. With just a couple of edits, or maybe with no edits at all, you're ready to put this directly on the air. The next section is on air, and it offers perspectives, a point of view, clever responses, and phone topics. It breaks it down in a lot of different ways. If you're a very experienced talent, it is great inspiration to give you some ideas for that you might not have thought about on your own. It's like having a brainstorming partner. If you are an inexperienced talent, or if you're a program director who works with inexperienced talent, it's a great way to train them of how to take content that's created and put their own perspective and point of view on it and present it as original entertainment instead of just reading something that comes from another source. So it's very clever the way that it's put together. It's like having a talent coach that inspires your personality. Each piece of content comes with several teases that will drive time spent listening. As a talent coach that works with stations all over the world, one of the things that I spend a lot of time on is training them on how to write teases. And it's one of the hardest things to do because talent quickly gets bored. They get tired. Writing teases is a grind. They get tired of doing it. And after a week or two, less energy goes into it. They forget about doing it in some breaks, and it just slips down in priority. Taking all the workload out of that with an amazing tease engine. The teases are clever. Each of them is better than about 90% of the teases I hear on my radio stations that I consult. It's like having a full-time marketing pro inside your radio station that's dedicated to your show or dedicated to your station. It adds personality. A lot of times all you need is a little nudge. There's a commentary section that takes the facts of the story out and adds perspective in. So it still has enough information there so you understand what's happening, but it puts perspective into it and it gives you something to use as original entertainment. Then there's responses. The content is already curated for a specific target audience, but the responses are further broken down based on a personality style. There's an edgy response for a show that might be a little bit more aggressive or assertive, a show that might be sarcastic, doesn't take anything too seriously, likes to make fun of things, makes jokes about a lot of things. The second response is mainstream. So think of a show that is upbeat and positive, doesn't really go too far over the edge, but is still at the same time provocative. And then the third is family friendly. It's the ones who see the world as butterflies, rainbows, and unicorns, and puppy dogs. It's like having a talent coach that helps you find your personality, helps you find your voice, and helps you craft what it is that you're doing. There's 4 phone topics for every story. You get more than a list of things to talk about. It suggests how to extend it to the audience, some different ways that you can make it interactive with listeners. Either, and if you don't want to use the phone topics on the air, or you might want to use 1 or 2 of them on the air, you can take it from there and also put the others that you haven't used online. Then the online section, the online digital section starts with a blog. One of the things that many radio stations companies are requiring of their talent now is to write a blog or 2 or 4 per day. And it drives a lot of talent crazy because it's hard. It's hard to be a writer, and it's hard to write in a style that will create a successful blog. So we write one for you. The AI writes a brand new generated blog that's somewhere between the commentary, which is the DJ perspective, and the news story, which is the facts that we talked about. Also breaks it down for social media posts for all the major social media platforms. You get conversation starters that you can add to it to add to the comments on a blog or start a conversation on social media. And also some perspectives and responses that you can add to it if you're posting on X or on Instagram. It's like having a digital and social media manager on your team that's taking care of all the social media components for you. So you can see between having a blog done, having your social media posts done for you for every single topic that comes up, having thought starters that will start a conversation and you don't have to think of it because it comes right there with you. And we give you daily features, things like birthdays and today in history and music history, which takes the monotony out of daily show prep. There's also a daily headlines. It's news copy that's gathered, written, and ready to perform overnight. It's usually about 8 to 12 stories that are written as a newscast, each one about a paragraph long, ready for you to go in the morning, like having a news editor that's preparing the content for you. And I can't wait for Ben to show you Radio Content Pro Sidekick, which is an AI bot in the corner of every screen that will help you fine-tune every piece of content specifically to your personality. And when we get to the Q&A and Andrew comes back on, we're going to talk to you also about how you can have a free tool to develop your personality style that will share a link with you that you can go and develop your character traits, gives you a full character profile, which goes great with Radio Content Pro Sidekick. So for every department of your radio station, from programming to digital, social media, promotion, everyone finds something in Radio Content Pro that they can use. We call it empowering your creative genius with AI. But enough of that. You want to see what it's all about and how it works. So I'd like to introduce Ben Reed. Ben, tell everybody a little bit about who you are, what you do, how long you've been using Radio Content Pro, and let's get them on a tour.
How you doing? I'm Benjamin Reed, better known as El Chupacabras del Micrófono. I have lived in South America. I spent 5 years in Mexico. I became a Mexican citizen there. I've been working Spanish radio for about 30 some odd years. And I'm really stoked to tell you about this, because really the only way you can fail with this is not using it. There are so many tools available that it is absolutely, it's going to knock your socks off. So let's go directly to the screen share here so you can get a good idea of what is going on here. Hang on just a minute here. And let's see if we can go into the entire screen. And suppose, okay, there we go. Let's take a look at how things are set up here. In first place, probably should have got over here, but that's okay. Let me open up another tab quickly. As mentioned, there are a number of different categories, and we could probably add a few categories based upon popular demand. If there's something that you really want to take a look at in the future, we'd be happy to work on that. We are constantly adding new sources and new information. The bots go out there and check all of our sources, and within about 4 minutes or less of being out there, they are available for you. And so really there's a lot of content available for your demographics that has been curated specifically, for different topics. First of all, we have Sexo, Amor y Candela. Who doesn't like to talk about sex? I mean, that's a great topic for calls, for any radio show, particularly in morning or afternoon drive, or even family-friendly things, too. There's a little bit of everything there. We have historias virales y tendencias. That's kind of like weird news and some cool things going on. We have national news with Noticias del Gabacho e Inmigración. Big for election year this year. A lot of people are talking about the candidates, what they're proposing, what they're not proposing. And this will give you a different perspective, all written with a Latin American ideal here. The Mundo Deportivo, everything is, very important for, especially around La Copa America or La Copa Mundial, the World Cup coming up. That's going to be a huge section. Noticias Mexicanas. Now, this is on our Grito, which is our Mexican prep. We have more Latin American and Chicano news for Tumbao, which is more urban related. in the other section. Parándola, everybody talks about the latest celebrity gossip. We have essential elements o esenciales cotidianos, cumpleaños de hoy, titulares de hoy. That's where you're going to find that newscast that we were talking about a few minutes ago. Horóscopos, this is great because these are not the long, drawn-out ones. This is the Walter Mercado version con mucho, mucho amor. Those who used to watch him or listen to him will know what I'm talking about. You can do your own version, and they're about probably 15, 20 seconds per horóscopo for each signal or sign. Then we have the efemérides, the birthdays, things that are happening, noticias de música, musical notes, and the santoral, which is very important for a lot of listeners because they want to know whose saint it is based upon, their name or their namesake. Very, very popular within Hispanic culture. So let's look into a couple examples here, maybe 2 or 3, depending upon the time that we have. This is one of the things that came up under the section, Sexo, Amor y Candela. ¿Cómo superar la aburrición sexual en el matrimonio? Consejos y soluciones. This is for the non-Spanish speakers. What do you do to get out of the routine in your bedroom? Okay? And so right here's the essence about a lady who's complaining that she's bored because she's not getting it enough. You can kind of have your imagination take you where it may need to go or may not need to go, depending upon who your audience is. And so here are your teases here. What would you do if you're, if you're maybe a naranja or pareja, had fantasies that were a little bit too strange? That's one of the teases here. Find out in 15 minutes right here, and then you go ahead and go into your music or whatever you want to do. This is a short summary here. The commentary, the guion, this is what the video screen is going to be talking about. And these are your one-line answers. Here is your more daring one-liner here. This is more of your conventional, and then there's a family response, or kind of like a family-friendly response, I guess, would be the proper translation here. And then here are your phone topics. This can get people calling in and interacting with the DJ on the air, getting involved in social media. And let's say that it's not exactly what you're looking for. Maybe you want something more specific. Not a problem. That's why they have the RCP sidekick, which is over here. So this is what I'm going to tell it here. Necesito 5 temas. I'm going to say 5 temas morbosos relacionados con el aburrimiento sexual. I need 5 different topics that are going to make the phones jingle here, especially daring ones, and I'm going to ask the computer to come up with that. Necesito preguntas para el público. And this is what it's going to tell me here. And so this is so I'm going to take that as an idea, and I'm going to have the AI bot kind of help me out with 5 or 6 more different things that I can add to it. And here we go. Here's number 1. Secret fantasies. What is the craziest fantasy that you have ever had with your partner? Number 2, how do you avoid the routine? What is it that you do so you don't get so bored with sex in the bedroom? Number 3, what's the craziest place you've ever done it? Number 4, what do you do to prop up your desire? And number 5, communicating desires. What has worked for you to revitalize that relationship? And again, you have your blog title here. If you want to do something, this is something that you can paste into a blog. You can put your own little spin on it, especially using the RCP sidekick. Here is a Facebook publication about the matter. These are some tweets. There's a family-friendly one. There's a conventional tweet. And then there is kind of an edgy tweet that you can put out there. Here's something for Instagram. In many cases, they will also put in their emojis. So it's very, very appealing to a younger audience. And again, these are some different ideas that you can continue the conversation with. Here's kind of a daring way of continuing the conversation, conventional conversation, and then there's family friendly. Let's go to the family friendly one here. Hablar sobre las diferencias en la intimidad puede fortalecer tu relación. And you can talk about the differences in intimacy, that how that can actually help you strengthen your relationship with your partner. And so, it's something that you can put on for your grandma in the morning. Let's go to another topic here that I thought was kind of cool, came out yesterday, and so I saved it. By the way, if you find something that perhaps you can't use today, but you want to use it in the future as an evergreen topic, you can hit the save button, and you can later access that. This one right here talks about the best Mexican singers according to AI. And this was a great topic that I actually used on my program yesterday. And I got quite a bit of response on social media as well based upon it. And there is a link at the bottom. Oh, there you go. See, I was talking a little bit about the emojis for your Twitter and for your, well, it's X now, and Instagram. Those are typically there, and that kind of helps create more of a warm dialogue with especially your younger demographics. And at the bottom of every page is an article source. And so here is the article source, which could be used as an access for more information, or if you want to put your own spin on it, that's cool too. And so here are the top 10 male singers according to artificial intelligence. Pedro Infante, Javier Solís, Vicente Fernández, Luis Miguel, José José, Jorge Negrete, Juan Gabriel, Armando Manzanero, Alejandro Fernández, Pepe Aguilar, Marco Antonio Solís, Antonio Aguilar, and Pedro Vargas, as well as Joan Sebastian. And so that's great content for a regional Mexican radio station. Another thing that I do is I host a talk show. I also do a political commentary that lasts about 3 to 3.5 minutes each and every day. Before, it would take me forever to come up with, I wouldn't say forever, but maybe an hour and a half to sit down and write things out and bang it out and come up with something that was compelling for, trying to talk about the issue of the day. Now with this, man, I got that thing down to about 20, 25 minutes because I can come in. Let's take this topic here. Trump planea eliminar parol humanitario y deportar beneficiarios de programas de Biden. Trump is planning on eliminating humanitarian parole, and he wants to get rid of and deport all of the beneficiaries of the programs of Joe Biden. I mean, that's a huge topic to my listeners right now. And so I can come in here and I have a resumen, which is the synopsis of everything. I can further the conversation with a tease that I can start my show off with. I can go into the commentary, and this is what makes it really cool. I can search for audio that I can kind of pepper things with from TikTok and from YouTube from that day, and boom, throw a music bed under it, throw a little bit of equalization, a little bit of compression and limiting, and dang, it sounds like a fantastic piece that I can share on social media. I can put it on the air, and everybody loves it. As a matter of fact, I have it. I have that commentary airing at about 5 or 6 different regional Mexican stations here in the Northwest in the United States. And so this is really, really helping me save time, coming up with better content, more compelling content that fits my demographics, and getting better response. Another thing that I do is I have a pregunta del día. I have a daily question on my Facebook feed. And man, after I don't know how many years of doing it, you get bored. You have to break your head trying to come up with something to post each and every day. I don't have to do that anymore. I use this as my inspiration. and then I can post that into Canva. I got something that looks really good. Like, for instance, this question. ¿Podría uno de los programas humanitarios más importantes del gobierno ser eliminado? You know, we can talk a little bit about, these humanitarian programs. What kind of impact would it have on you and your family? And then people can respond to that on my Pregunta del Día. So it's relevant to the news, to something that is happening right here and right now, dealing with my audience, and it's getting me great response, better response than I have ever had before. And if you do this, especially for a talk show, you can line up your rundown with 4 or 5 different things, and you no longer have to fight to get good content. As I say, it's a matter of maybe sitting down 10 to 15 minutes every day and copying, pasting, putting everything where it needs to go instead of hours at a time. I mean, this is saving me a ton of time, and the response from my audience has been, holy hell, Chupacabras, what have you done? Because they really understand that, my content is much, much better than it was in the past. And all of this has been happening the past 3 or 4 months as I have been preparing and beta testing this program of El Grito and also Tumbao, for the different radio stations that I program. So that's kind of a quick synopsis of how it works. I'm going to turn this off here and open up for questions, or turn it back to Tracy and Andrew.
Thanks, Benjamin. So as you can tell, we are not only very excited about it, but we are we're thrilled at the people that it's helping and the time that it's saving our clients and the people who've been using not just these 2 products that we showed you today, but all the products that we've had out since last October. So we're coming up on 1 year of getting involved. Several of you have already submitted some private questions, which we'll go over here in just a second. If you have some questions, you can type it into the chat box now, and we will answer all of them. We'll bring, and while those questions are coming in, I'll introduce Andrew from Radio Content Pro. His company is called WP Media. Tell us a little bit about you and about WP Media and the company behind it while we organize some of these questions that have come in.
Sure. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Andrew. I run the company WP Media. My background is I've been building websites since GeoCities when I was just about 8 or 9 years old. Got a little older, and out of college, I started doing web work for local radio stations, mostly around San Diego. And eventually took on some external clients and grew my side business and turned it into a full-time business. And over the last about 1.5 years, as AI has become more popular, and we're seeing the needs of radio stations to get compelling content at an affordable rate, and to also offload some of the work of filtering and finding show prep, finding good, compelling content. We kind of came up with a solution and have been working closely with these guys to get it together.
All right, terrific. Thank you. So let's get to a couple of these questions, and in about 2 minutes, I'm going to make an offer that anybody who's interested in this, and we'll talk about pricing as well. But one of the questions that came up in the chat is, maybe you'll get to this, but are there graphics that come along with this? And your timing of your question is perfect because that's in beta right now. Andrew, talk about where we're at with that.
Yep, we've got a functional graphic solution coming out. It's passed all of our beta tests, and we should be rolling that out next week slowly across all the different products. And
so that'll come with a graphic for every post. Some of the graphics will be free of copyright, so you'll be able to grab them and use them. And if it does have a potential copyright problem that's attached to it, you'll get a warning on there that shows you that hey, this is coming from the original source. Make sure you have the rights to repurpose this and use this. But that should be coming out across all the sites, including El Grito and Tumbao next week. So let's talk about prices real quick. And I'm not going to belabor this because we're going to make you an amazing offer here of giving the first 10 who respond to an annual membership for either El Grito or Tumbao or both. You'll get it for 50% off, not just for the first year, but for the entire life of your subscription. It's an unprecedented offer. We've never done this with any of the other the products that we brought out. And we're doing it just for those who are on this today and for the first 10 that respond. Now, what's the price? Well, it depends on your market size. It starts with small markets, and small markets are identified as anyone under 250,000 people. If you're in a market, and that's $99 a month. So with your 50% discount, it's under $50 a month. It's like giving it away. The second tier is medium-sized markets, which are classified as between 250,000 and 500,000 people. And the price there is $149 per month. And a large market over 500,000 people is at $199 per month. And you can cut that in half. So even in a large market, a major market, the largest markets in the country, you can get it for $99 a month, $100 a month to get all of the things that you're seeing here if you use the discount code that you see at checkout that you see on your screen right now. So you can check that out. If you're not sure that you want to do it, you could subscribe monthly. The annual memberships are a little bit cheaper. They're for the smaller markets, it's $4.99 a year, so you'd get it for $250 a year. The medium markets are $9.99 a year, so you get it for $450. And the major markets are $19.99 per year, so you'd be getting it for $1,000 per year with your 50% discount. Now, the discount only applies to annual subscriptions. I gave you the monthly prices as well. You can tell that if you sign up for an annual subscription, you're basically getting 2 months free out of it every year. So you get a nice discount there as well. So we're happy to make that. We want to get a lot of you involved with it. If you'd like to try it out but not make a commitment, sign up for the monthly. You get a period of time where you'll get immediate access. You'll be able to start using the product, and your credit card won't be charged for 7 days. So if you don't like it, if you say, oh, wow, I made a horrible mistake, we are going to, I wish I hadn't done this, just cancel within 7 days and your card will never be charged. So it's a free trial, no risk to try it out. And Ben just put up in chat that barter is also available. A lot of stations are cash poor. If you're in a market or at a station that has enough quarter hours to drive it, barter could be a great option too. We do barter through key networks. So that's pricing. Let's get back to the good stuff. Let's get back to the content and a couple of the other questions that have come in. This one came in from a private that said, do you have any group deals for companies that want to get multiple stations involved? And the answer is yes. You can contact us by email or send a private message, and we would be glad to work with you. If you have a significant number of stations, we can give you some cost efficiencies. We'd love to do a group deal with you and get all of your stations involved. And if you're doing barter, some of you might be at stations or have stations in your group that don't have enough quarter hours to justify barter. But we can get it on all of those stations too. And some of the smaller stations may be in more need of this. And so we can get it on those stations by leveraging some of the higher average quarter hour stations that you have in your group. And the question just popped up: is it market exclusive? Yes, it is market exclusive by brand. So if you were to buy El Grito for your market, nobody else could have El Grito, but if somebody else wanted Tumbao, it would be available. Now, none of that content crosses over. And that one of the other questions that had come in is about sources. And I had mentioned at the beginning that we only go to trusted sources and we vet them. And every product we have uses different sources. So even though there might be a topic that pops up like Jennifer Lopez or the whole P. Diddy, controversy and the things that are going on right now, you'll probably get stories in both El Grito and Tumbao, but they'll be completely different stories. They come from different sources. They're curated differently. All of the prompts, all of the audience curation is completely separate. All of the questions are different. All of the teases are different. It's exclusive, even though some of it might cross over. Another question came in about multiple logins. Andrew, you want to take this? This is more in the technical area.
Yep. If once you sign up, contact me and I'll sort you guys out with the multiple logins. That's no problem.
So for every account, you get one login. You're based on your email. But if you need some for your station, Andrew can set you up. One of the benefits of Radio Content Pro that a lot of users are loving is that with a typical content-based service, tomorrow's content comes out late in the afternoon after the morning show's gone home for the day. And then the morning show comes in and has to scramble to use it. They don't have time to curate it properly. They put it on the air. Then the afternoon show comes in, or midday personality comes in, and everything good has already been used on the morning show, and the content's almost a day old. Radio Content Pro is updated minute by minute. It's constantly searching these sources. And I mentioned the sources. Every one of the sources is vetted, trusted, and tested before we put it out there to you. We worked on this project for almost 9 months before we put it out to the public. After a couple of months of working with it, when we got clients into it, we solved 99.9% of the accuracy problems that we ran into. And if you ever run across anything that is questionable, you think it might not be accurate, it might come from a questionable source, there's a button on every page that you can report it to us, and we'll check it out. Next question is, what if I have a regional Mexican and a reggaeton station in my market? Do we get a better deal to carry both? You're not going to get a better deal than 50% off. So I would sign up for the 50% off deal. There's not a group discount for 2 stations. There would be a group discount if you have multiple stations, 5 stations or more, say, in other markets who want to come in. We can do some cost efficiencies there. But if you want to get both, we can work with you to get you signed up for both. But we can't give you a significant enough discount for it to matter based on two in a market. Question came up about will audio be available? And here again, we've looked into that. And one of the reasons that you don't see audio on any of the pages right now is because there is so much audio on a lot of the source pages that we have that the AI can't accurately sort out what audio to grab and what audio not to grab. And it was junking up all the pages. There might be a 4 or 5 or a 6 minute piece of content that you can't use on the air. And we found that it was more of a distraction than anything else. It's one of the reasons why we have the article source button at the bottom. If you want to get some video or some audio or any other detail, that's where you can go and you can grab it from there rather than being on the page. We are looking into some options for the most popular posts each day and having a human curate audio and potentially video that would go along with those most popular posts, but we don't have a target date for release on that at this time. Let's see. Another question came up, and Andrew and Ben, I'll throw this one to you. It says, what else is Radio Content Pro Sidekick able to do? It looks pretty cool. Can it do more than just give me more questions for phone topics?
Yeah, without a doubt. It can actually help you find your voice. And, let's say you're a sarcastic guy. A lot of people know that I'm kind of a no holds barred kind of a guy on the air. And I like to just slam people, especially politicians. In fact, that's one of the things that I start my show off with, that todos los políticos son una bola de marranos, that they're all a bunch of pigs. And so, I use the sidekick to come up with very nasty, sardonic, very biting commentaries towards politicians. And I love it because some of them are really creative and, they're clean, but they're extremely biting. And so it will help you find your voice. It will accentuate your personality. So if you have a strong, personality, even in and of yourself, it's going to make you even bigger than you truly are right now.
One of my clients earlier this week was responding to the fact that Taylor Swift was not at the Chiefs game on Sunday to support her boyfriend, Travis Kelce. And it was the first time she hasn't been to a game. And so we put it into Sidekick and said, give me some ideas on how we can annoy the Swifties to the point where they call and threaten to burn the radio station down. And it was great. There were like 10 of them, and there was some amazing content that came back in some of the suggestions. And another great use for Sidekick, you can use your imagination to do anything. You could say, something, I'm a personality in Miami, and I want you to rewrite this story with local references, local landmarks, local benchmarks, neighborhoods, buildings, local celebrities who are popular, and make it personal to the people who are here, and do it through these traits in my character profile. And it will completely recreate what is on that page, specific to your style, specific to your personality, and exactly specific to your market. It'll give you whatever you want to get out of it. So it's a really powerful tool, and one that, you know, we say that the brands, the El Grito and Tumbao, are customized for your format, but Radio Sidekick makes it personalized for your show and for your personality. So I think you'll get a lot of use out of that. Another question came up about local sources, and we do a lot of local news. Is there any way that we can get local content in this? Andrew, yeah, we've been working on that. You want to give an update on where we're at with that?
Yep. So we have our engine in place to do local content. It's a definite possibility. There is an additional cost just because there's hard costs for us to generate that content, but we can get that up and running for you if it's something you're interested in.
So if you're in Indianapolis and you say, I want Indianapolis information or Indiana or regional, all you have to do is tell us. We can price that out for you. It's not a lot. It's not like doubling the price of the service, but it would be an additional cost, and it would be local content, all curated the same way that you saw in Ben's demo. I don't see any other questions here. If you have any, we're going to wrap it up here in a second. I know you're busy. I know it's late in the day if you're on the East Coast or in some other part of the world. And I don't see any other questions that we haven't answered. If you have another question, type it now, or if you think of something later, you can always email us. My email address is tracy@tjohnsonmediagroup.com. Andrew, what's your email?
You can get me at hello@radiocontentpro.com.
And Ben?
elchupashow@yahoo.com. That's elchupashow@yahoo.com, or Ben at, radiocontentpro.com as well.
Exactly.
Either one of those.
Okay. So the offer is up. It's just click the offer tab, and you will be able to click on that and sign up right away. The first 10 get it for 50% off. And I also just started sharing the files of the presentation you saw today. If you click on the files tab, you'll be able to download the entire presentation. If there are no other questions, we'll leave it right there. Thank you so much for coming in and for taking the time today. If you'd like a private demo, you can contact any of the three of us. We'll be glad to walk you through it and answer your questions. If you'd like to get some other people from your company involved, happy to do that at any time. You can reach out to us whenever you like. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day and a great weekend that's coming up. Bye-bye.
Yeah.